Got a file clam here, a rough file clam. A little cracked, but hey, I'll hold on to it. Don't run into those all too often. And a shiny lettered olive. Little guy, perfectly glossy. Add that to the cockle bowl. I'm here on a Jupiter Island at Nathaniel P. Reid Hope Sound National Wildlife Refuge Beach. A perfect time for finding shells the dropping tide has left behind. I was able to walk out quite far on the packed sand near the water's edge and thrilled to see lots of seashells scattered on the beach. I ended up here for almost 8 hours. So this will be part 1, and next I'll share part 2 with you. Tritons, a sundial, lots of orange, flats, a cute little cowrie, lace murexes, olives, rosy stridulas, and my biggest imperial yet are some of the seashells that waited like secrets in the sand. And I'll show you a clever base I started using for my bittersweet flowers. Welcome to Florida Beach Walks. I'm Roxanne. Let's go shelling in Hope Sound. A Thorny Oyster, and it is decorated with 2 Jewelbox bases. Cemented right to the top of that one. Awesome. And here is a bittersweet, a giant bittersweet. Okay, totally lacking the color, and it is stained, but I'm gonna hold on to that, and I'll explain a little bit later. Lots of shells scattered on the beach, right when I hit the beach at the crack of dawn this morning, which is so fun. I've come to other beaches too, and it's just nothing. Wiped clean. This is the 2nd week since the waves have calmed down, and the shells are really pushing up now from all those Atlantic storms. Another thorny oyster. It still hasn't calmed down to the point where the water is its beautiful teal. Shades of teal, but I'm hoping that soon because I miss looking at the beach like that. But look at all these shells, and the video quality will get a little bit better as the sun rises, and it's going to be a gorgeous sunrise. And another thorny oyster. Found a lot of these right off the start. Love their gnarly shapes that they can come in. Sometimes they're a little hard to tell what it is. A scaly scallop, little chip on it, but nothing a nail file couldn't fix. And the sun is about to rise. Here's a yellow prickly cockle. Pretty nice color, lacking on the inside, and a chip of green Seaglass. Those yellow prickly cockles don't get too much larger than about 2 inches. They stay on rather the smaller side of the cockles. And a giant coquina. Now that's been buried a little while, but man, what a striking pattern the old iron sulfide staining has on that one. There's a large stridula, or a rosy stridula, as I've been recently started to call them, because there's nothing large about that shell. Nothing large. All right, lots to look through, and a jewel box, an Atlantic jewel box, left-handed jewel box. Those are pseudo comma going clockwise, and the cutest little turkey wing. Oh, that's really cute. Adorable. And here's another giant coquina without any iron sulfide staining on that. Another scaly in the purple color, less common than the orange ones. This has got to be one of the best sunrises that I have been blessed to be able to see at this beach park. Thank you, Jesus. Just stunning. What a way to start out the day. Never, ever gets old. Another giant coquina clam. And I did pick up a lot because I just kept finding them here. Oh, there was so many. And here's another one. You know, sometimes when you're just shelling, there's just, I don't know, the shell you just laser focus on because there's so many. And that was one of them. All right, that was missing its hinge wings, but I'll take that scaly. And another piece of sea glass. I have found in this Hope Sound area, walking north, a lot of sea glass in the past as well. This beach walk has been really starting off good, especially finding an Atlantic yellow cowrie. I don't run into these a crazy amount, and I was so super thrilled just to find it there. The last time I found these was up on the high rack line, so to find one just on the beach like this was fantastic, and it still has its coloring on the top, the little yellow speckles on the top too, as well as the sides. Those are really nice and defined on the sides. The invasive thrush cowrie kind of looks like the yellow cowrie in the regards to spots, but these are native to Florida. Here is a little lightning whelk. That's a fun find. I don't find lightning whelks too much on the East Coast. A little soft as expected. Awesome. Another scaly scallop. I am seeing more of these lately, and I've noticed, at least for me, ooh, nice purple one. At least for me, I find these around the later months of the year and the earlier months, so that's when I find them more in abundance. Is a really gorgeous saturated rosy stridula, and this one I was looking at the abductor scars, and I believe this is actually a true one. There are false stridulas, which is probably the first one, but I'm not sure. I'll put a link in this video's description of the differences. And here's a buttercup with some nice yellow inside of that one for the East Coast. We're going to run into a few different types of lucines today. A jingle, a nice orange jingle. December's birth shell, almost time for the holidays. Let's see, November's birth shell is the scallop, and we have already run into a few of those. Here's a stout tadulus. When I first started shelling, these reminded me of angel wings. And a worm cluster. Go ahead and collect that one and add it to all the worms that I have. Oh, I see a bigger shell, but it looks a little old. But let's go ahead and check out. That is opening to the left sinistral. That is a lightning whelk. Yeah, it's busted, but I'll hold on to it and make a great little planter. Here's a northern quahog. Looks a little bit on the yellow side, like it has some yellow staining. These are usually, if you find them white, this clam in the white on the inside, that purple can be really bright. So it's a little dull, but there's a lot of purple, which is known as wampum on this one. So hold on to that. And an orange purplish simile. Yep, these purplish similes can come in orange and purple, and I believe that is a purplish simile. Not too much design. I thought it could be a cancelet at first, but I was like, no, it's a little purple. And here's another lucine, a chalky lucine. Love the bulbous shape on those. Those are a perfect round bowl of a shell. Got a Imperial little chip, but that's okay. A couple tinted Canthus and a rosy Stridula that is saturated again. Fantastic. Love it when they're really dark like that. And here's a dark Seraph in a lighter form. Really nice beading on that one. When I find the dark Seraphs, you can see how dark they are and mottled in color, but this one's pretty light. And here is another Atlantic or left-handed jewel box, and you can see its growth is clockwise, giving it its scientific classification of pseudo-comma, while most of your commas will be counterclockwise in growth. Another scaly and a chocolate candy shell, according to my little Ella. Last beach walk at Bathtub Beach, I shared that's what you call those spectral bittersweets. And this is a chestnut turban. The beading is just gorgeous on this little guy. A purple sea urchin spine. And I see another one. All right, I'll go ahead and collect those two. Maybe we'll find a few more to add a little later. Oh, heartbreaker. There's a giant eastern Murex. These get really, really big. And for this being this pitted and old, I'm surprised it's still in one piece. These can be really, really pretty. And I have not found a lot of them, but here's one that I found in a dredge. This is the best one that I do have. And you can see how spiky and gorgeous they can really get. Oh, I would have been screaming if I found it like that. Here is a thick buttercup. Nice yellow in the inside of that one for a buttercup. Also known as a thick lucine. Nice round shape on these as well. Check that out. Now we're going to ignore the hole in that one, but from the aperture side up, that is a beautiful Atlantic hairy Triton, and it's big. Oh. Just hold it just right. Okay, that is a pretty big hole, but you can't tell from here. So that's how I'll display it. But this is one of the larger ones that I have now. I just think these shells are really cool. This is a nice caramelly color. I have found these a little bit lighter and a little bit darker. So they do vary in color. There are a few of these giant cockles around, but look how big this one is. I just had to pick up all the big ones. Future projects, yes, gorgeous size on that. And a Thorny Oyster, a very juvenile one. And another chip of Seaglass, brown, but hey, I will collect the frosted brown ones. Very common color. And yep, got a few more giant coquinas. These don't have too much purple on the tip. Some of them really have a splash of nice purple. Little kitten paw. And a giant bittersweet clam that still has really nice, great pattern on that. And here's another purplish simile and a little red-brown arc. So shell bits can look like nothing until having a closer look. Can you see it now? It's a perfect little flat, well, bigger flat than I'm used to finding. I find them about half that size. Gorgeous, no staining on that. This is probably a fresh wash up. Just stunning zigzag flat scallop, and I thought that was iron sulfide staining, the little black in the middle, but no, it's like a dark burgundy color on this flat. Just beautiful. So I'm now in more of a concentrated shell area that the beach just left behind, and here is a Kelly green bottleneck piece of sea glass. That's always fun. Nice frosted on the round part of that, and look, it's a Thorny Oyster, but it has two of its thorns sticking out the side there. This is more of a juvenile one, a little bit more flat. When they get older, I think they get more concave and gnarly. Fabulous. Now, okay, so I moved a little bit farther up also from where all those shells were, because there's a lot of shells in the high rack line. And I found a lot of these northern quahogs. And, you know, like the one before, they're kind of stained, but there's so much purple on the inside. I just had to take it, and I had a little leafy jewel box in there. But all along the high rack line was just a lot of shells. So this was really fun. That's why I was out here so long. Oh, here's another piece of sea glass, olive green, not so bright. Now, check that out. All right, I can't wait for Chalet to see this. This is a fat Imperial Venus clam. I glossed one over when we were at Bathtub Beach last upload, and she found it, and I was like, yay, I found one. Largest one I have to date. Here's a few more orange scaly scallops. Now, I looked up the color orange because I love seeing it so much at the beach. So the color orange stimulates the brain by increasing oxygen to it, which can enhance mental activity, alertness, and creativity. So that explains why I love seeing it at the beach so much. Oh, another flat scallop. That's so pretty. Too bad it's missing its hinge wings, but that is a large size for a zigzag flat scallop. I found them in dredges, about like cracked, like half of that. But that's the most intact one I have seen on the beach at that size. That's a very large piece of Seaglass, nice and flat and really pretty color. I guess that would be like a muted aqua foam color. Beautiful orange on this rounded calico scallop. Here's a giant bittersweet clam. Yeah, it's lacking its color, but I have a great plan for these. I started using them as the base for my bittersweet flowers. I mean, this is just... I'm so thrilled to have started making them like this. I saw a post online in Shellcrafters Facebook page by Jackie. She made those flowers that you see on the cover of her group page, and I was beyond excited. Now, I was using foam balls, but look, she's making this coquina flower that she does have the tutorial under the features section here, and she's using a shell. This is pure genius. I have enjoyed making these flowers so much, but with the shell, that much more. So I started out like I would on my foam balls that I was doing, and just add one layer at a time. I love the roundness of the shells and just how it works, and these work really good as a standalone project because you don't have the foam on the bottom. I will continue to use the foam balls as a base for projects such as mounting on picture frames. This is a recent one that I made using the foam balls, and all these flowers I made as standalone flowers using the shells as a base, and I do have these in my Etsy shop. Thank you, Jackie, for your post. And if you haven't already, please check out her Facebook page and join. She has a lot of great content over there. Here's another larger old lightning well, but it has a hole in it, so this would probably make a good succulent planter. We'll have some good drainage there. Just put a shell at the bottom so the dirt doesn't fall out, and I'll show you at the end. That worked fabulous as a planter. All right, so here is the second piece of this sea glass that's the same as the triangular one we found earlier. Hey, that's fantastic. Really pretty color. And here's another chalky lucine. Now these also would probably make a really nice shell base too, so I'll experiment with that one. That is a large scaly scallop. It's missing the hinge wings, that's a little bit cracked, but that is a massive size for that little scaly, a little windy too. Oh, could you imagine? Okay, that's just the core of a Caribbean vase. Caribbean vases those are a little bit of an elusive shell too. Now here is another thick lucine or thick buttercup, but that is a really big size and a really nice yellow. Here's two on the bottom that are like regular size, and they just nest right into it.